And hello, dear friends.
Ooh.
Welcome, ladies, gents, and all those in between and beyond that binary of the internet. Welcome to Neon Lights Roleplay. More specifically, welcome to Against the Light, a Kingdoms and Warfare adventure. I am your game maestro for the duration of the stream. You can call me Young Foxy. And I have with me 4 devoted adventurers, 4 dedicated members of the High Council of House Vairdans here to ply the land, serve their people, and hopefully put a stop to some real bad people while we're at it. I'd like my cast to go in the order you are called, to introduce who you are, where you can be found on the internet, and I guess who you're playing today. That'd be pretty cool. I appreciate that. And then we'll settle ourselves right on in the scene. Starting over on the left of your screen, always a friend of the channel and a personal friend of me, someone I've had plenty of great long conversations with about awesome things, who I can't wait to see not only perform in this, but in future things that I can hopefully throw them into with me. Furman, please say hi to everybody here, if you can.
Hello, everybody. I'm Legendary Vermin. You can find me as Legendary Vermin on all the places on the internet that matter, which is, of course, itch, Twitch, and Twitter. I am playing Fane Hemlock, who is like an 8-foot-tall harpy woman, and warlock and high emissary to the various and sundry Fey enclaves within the territory of House Vairdans.
All right, fixing that right now. Cool. Thank you for letting us know that, Fane. Moving right on along then, as I believe every party needs to have an 8-foot-tall harpy woman in their lives. I would certainly like to have one in mine. Moving right on down in the counterclockwise order, appearing in their first long-term campaign on the Neon Lights channel, but very happy to have them here, as I believe that they are a splendid role player, and more people should see the unique quirks they bring to a table. Super happy to have you here, Chouse. Please introduce yourselves to the cast and crew.
Hello everyone, I'm Chouse. I'll be playing Rio Branshaw. You can find me on Twitch at It's Chouse. Pretty much that's it. Yeah, I'll be playing our rogue. I don't really know how else to describe him.
Tiefling rogue?
He's a character.
A tiefling rogue
He's
and
a
crime gremlin?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
certainly a character, which is certainly appreciated.
Yeah.
And again, I like you and the characters you bring to places, so I'm glad to have you here, man.
Aww.
Keeping it moving
Thank
along, right across the old dice screen for those of y'all on stream, appearing in their second long-term Neon Lights campaign. Again, after we wrapped up our first one, I said to myself very cleanly, just listen, I am not running another campaign until I get Meg at a table again. It's not going to happen otherwise, so very happy that I got to bring you along for this. Please introduce yourself to the cast and crew, Meg Mysteria. I can hear you, love.
Your mic isn't working, Meg. We can't hear you.
Easy fix.
Yeah.
I heard a beep there for a second. There we go. You're good.
There we go.
Easy fix.
Okay. Maybe.
You're good.
Let's increase my gain. There we go. Hi. Let's try that again. He says that like he doesn't have other stuff planned, but I'm happy to be here nonetheless. Everybody, I am Meg Mysteria. You can find me by that name on Twitch, on Twitter, here on Neon Lights, and over on TPK. Also on Itch, because I'm on there too. I always forget that part. But tonight I will be playing Leah Evermore, our house historian and resident sorceress.
Always important to have someone around who knows the books, knows the looks, and knows the cooks? I don't know. I had a third one there. I lost it halfway through. I'm sorry, honestly. We'll go with that one for now, though. And of course, rounding out the cast, but anything but the least of us here. This community wouldn't exist if not for the contribution you have brought to it. Super happy to have gotten to know you over the past year or so. I call you a friend, and I mean it when I say it. Awesome to have you here, Tate. Please introduce yourself to the cast, crew, and the audience at home.
Everybody, I'm Tate Washburn. Do I really need to introduce myself after that wonderful introduction? But I will be playing Airdre Tiavantier, who is just a old soul kind of a trainer man, ranger dude. I'm going to try and play a strong silent type, and you should know if you know me that that's going to be very hard for me to do. So we'll see how that goes.
I try to be strong and silent, but I just can't shut the fuck up. That's the story of my life. Anyway.
You're right, exactly. That's me.
You got too much energy.
Been there. Totally fair. Understandable. And of course, if somehow you've found your way to Neon Lights Roleplay before and don't know who I am, which that's a rare thing, you should play lottery. I'm Young Foxy, aka Big Foxy, also known as your favorite fox, Philly's finest, and I will be your game maestro for the duration of the stream, playing all the people that aren't these four lovely souls all around you. So, with that said and done, and with no more time to waste, let's head ourselves right back into stream if my players are ready. To give some historical context to our stream today, we first turn ourselves to the words of the great poet Virgil, who in his story, the Aeneid, said once before a battle that the great warrior Ascanius, son of the hero Aeneas, before going to battle against the Numenaus, in which he would slay the great king Numenaus, would say, Lupiter omnipotens audipacus ad nue sotectus. In other words, all Jupiter Almighty, favor in this day my bold undertaking. And thus I turn to today's session title, Annue Septis, or Ascent Towards My Bold Undertaking. As last session, we saw the High Council step outside of the walls of Westreach, can't talk today, heading across the lands towards Cyprus and into the Metri family territory, heading towards the city of Salzmouth for what would be called the Interecta, a 9-yearly meeting of all the great houses here on the western side of the Gilded Coast to talk politic and discuss the various things. But this year several things happened very differently. After a very botched attempt on your lives and, well, the lives of your patron, House Vairdans, which you all prevented and gained some critical information from, you proceeded towards Salzmouth and attended the Interecta, whereupon an uninvited guest appeared. Host of the Metri family themselves, Metri Loam III. With no seat at the Interecta, as he does not technically control the Great House, Metri made some very, very bold claims about his belief in his claims. There was pushback, counterclaim, and, well, possibly even conflict. But due to some very, very quick thinking by our council and some bold speech work by our Master of Intelligence, or Espionage, war was prevented. For now, at least. The Aldari and the Metri stared each other down for a very long time. A glance that could pierce 1,000 spear points. A glance that could shatter armor between them. And then nothing. Quiet. The rest of the Interecta passed almost forgettably. It was banter about trade tariffs and religious rights and land clearances and guild oaths, and there were just all nonsense, the usual things. But for all of you, perhaps specifically for the House Historian, there were more important things on her mind. That evening, she answered a summons, shall we say. Found herself not too far outside of Salzmouth, meeting with an old face. Iman Talem, Crusader Lord of the Everlight Church. The growing, crusading, and just desolating force that is raising its way across the other half of the Gilded Coasts. And according to Iman's words, maybe their half soon too. Discussions were had, an out was offered and rejected. And afterwards, not one, but two members of the House Vairdans High Council made their way back towards the rest to group and rest for the long trip back to Westreach. We'll settle back in on that night. We're in Salzmouth still, in a high castle building towards the middle of town. A wing of the quarters have been made ready for you and your party to rest and gather yourselves. A large feast was held, as is typical for every Interecta. Foods from all across the different lands were brought in. You yourselves had some of your finest chefs bring some of the best Vairdanian breads, and thank you for the follow. Some of the best Vairdanian breads and fishes. The Aldari themselves brought down some of the finest, different meats and trades. Some of the best Metri livestock was offered up, and some of the best food you've had in a very long time, and you eat pretty well pretty often. But as the evening comes, and any of you can call yourselves out as you feel comfortable if you have the right moment, I'd like to know, where are you in this scene? Where are you this evening? How are you resting or preparing yourselves or otherwise? I'd also like to know what's on your mind right now, given the information you've been gathering, and now that you know you're about to head back to Westreach, what's something you really think you want to do? You can play that out however you'd like to. Take a minute to cook on it if you like. Take whatever you need. But whenever you're ready, go for it, loves. Scene is yours.
Well,
I
mean, not to take center stage right away, but I think I know what Airdrie is doing.
did it.
I think like after dinner, which he mostly doesn't comment on, whenever he needs to like think or he's like stewing over something and he's not like at home in his own quarters, he spends the time with his particular brand of training. He doesn't just like spar or just do drills in like the center like in a well-prepared sparring arena. He goes to whatever there's wilderness or wild nearby, even if it's just open fields. And it's more of a, he doesn't feel comfortable unless he's actively working to make sure things are secure. So he probably spends the afternoon just doing that, even if there are other guards around, even if there's other people doing it. And what he's really thinking about is the Blade Sisters that we got reports on, the Elvish unit that attacked their scouts. He has a history with them, and he's probably considering like our forces, and like they're not enough to fight just the elves. They're not enough.
That may certainly be true. As you find yourself sitting about this scene, watching the low horizon setting, low moon moving across the sky, and stars twinkling a low curtain in the twilight. The plains are low and quiet. A bird song here or there, cackling insect every now and then. Look just far enough as a large bovine creature on muscled legs thumps its way up. Oop, not that way. Thumps its way across the plains, stopping to nuzzle some grass. It has 4 horns angling out in either direction. You'd know it as a livestock creature, pretty native to these lands. The Metri tend to herd plenty of them. This one doesn't seem domesticated though, just minding its own business. Almost cuts its head your way a little bit. Not like it notices you, but just in your direction. And then shambles on its way. Other than that, the night is mostly yours. There's a peace and quiet in the air. Airdrie, do you mind, as you're sitting in this, rolling for me some kind of perception, please?
Sure thing.
I want you to hold that number for me. Don't tell me it yet, and I'm gonna come back to you in just a moment, alright, baby?
Oh, well then I'm gonna have to roll that physically so you don't see.
That's fine, thank you. In that case, let's go over to whoever we can next. Someone else, where are you this evening? What are you up to, and what are you thinking about?
Okay, so I think that Fane is if there's any like towers or turrets in like full sight of the moon, she has squirreled herself to the top of the highest tower she can find and is perched with a like ornate hand mirror. It's inlaid on the back with amethysts, kind of shaped to give off a spiderish motif, and there are 8 hands around it, all pulling, and they're like collecting material force and turning that material into thread, and then taking that thread, putting it in a ball of yarn, and like sewing with it. And this mirror is what she's kind of sitting and pondering over. And she, under the light of the moon, looks into it and calls out to the guide that she can reach on the other side of it and asks, which houses along these gilded coasts reside in a war would with House Metri side?
mirror kind of shimmers for a half second. A face doesn't apparate in it, but it's almost just like as you look into the mirror, the places wherein a face would wrinkle to speak just kind of distort enough that you can almost see a face amidst the reflected image in the mirror. And it says, "In Metri Loom's gilded eye, the Alderi certainly all must die. And though the Pale Fall have no claim, Crimson Host may lend their flame."
Okay. That's not an answer that Thane is happy with. She kind of looks out and clicks. Then she stretches her wings and goes for a short flight before retiring to her quarters.
The night air is low and calm against your face and feathers as you take flight and soar high. There are small gatherings of other flight-based creatures flocking around you, but all give you space as sort of dominant force in the air, your natural noble presence kind of forcing a free path as you fly over the city of Salsmouth, high over towers, and eventually find yourself landing in a high open balcony window directly next to your quarters and are able to tuck yourself in. I don't need any checks from you right now, Thane. So instead, let's go ahead and check on the other two. Rio, I saw you cooking over there for a bit. You feeling good?
Yeah.
What you got for me?
Rio is with his trusty assistant Morgan, looking around and about the more shady side of the market square in Salsmouth, just to see if there is a let's see, I can't remember. As a player, I can't remember the name of it. I think it's Dream Dust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's looking for like whether Salsmouth is a place that Dream Dust is produced or is just a trading hole for it, or if it's like an intermediary stop.
Can you give me an espionage roll real quick?
Alright.
So that would be a d20 plus whatever your domain's bonus to espionage is. I believe it's plus. I have you guys a sheet up right here. So +1 for y'all to espionage. So go ahead and roll that for moi. And let me know your result, and then I'll narrate to you what we got going on here.
That is a 16.
16 is a good number. All right. So, you spend the better part of the evening about the market in Salsmouth. It's just dipping into shops, noticing a shopkeeper here or there, looking at the customers, following the people. Nothing you haven't done before. Morgan is a little less comfortable in this direct environment. They've worked with you for a very long time, so they follow your lead perfectly. But they are clearly a bit more administrative in their pursuit, checking prices on things, denoting things. Again, that clipboard of theirs is always with them. They're just constantly busying themselves, writing down notes and taking things. And you're kind of looking around. Eventually you pass your way into what looks to be a clothes shop of some kind. There are fine dresses and tabards all about the walls and things. And as you're taking in this scene, looking around for a bit, you eventually feel a bit of a tap on your shoulder. If you cut your head over, it's Morgan. Just, sire, over there.
Yes.
And with that 16, I'm going to go ahead and say you notice that there's a back row of clothes that someone was definitely, like, just a moment ago, you're certain. Someone was looking at that rack of clothes, like on that wall there, and they're gone. They're not elsewhere in the store. You're closer to the entrance than they are, so there's no way they could have gotten out of it without walking past you.
Did you happen to see what happened?
I'm pretty sure someone stepped past that rack there. A false door, maybe?
Interesting. Quite possible. I'd recommend you keep your head up and your eyes open. And he will walk over to the rack that we see someone disappear from, and he will kind of like flip his fingers through the rack a little bit, and just push
Before you
on
push,
the
if you don't mind,
mhm.
are you trying to do this without being seen?
He's gonna do it very casually.
Okay.
Like nothing. Like there's nothing to be concerned about. Just strolling through, walking around.
All right, you push, you walk up, you are kind of finessing your way through this rack for a bit, and as you move your hand through past one jacket, you feel your hand hit something metal, and you kind of grab at it. It's definitely a knob. You just give it a good push, and you feel yourself moving forward a bit. The door isn't loud. It's almost like there's some cushioning or some soft padding behind it to keep it from making too much noise, but it definitely begins to open. And the moment you kind of like start to move your way down in it, you'll see Morgan just step in front of the rack and almost kind of comically just, oh, I wonder if this would fit me. I can't seem to figure this out, honestly. And kind of like lift up a dress deliberately over you as you're moving around. And then a few seconds later, just see that you're gone and let go. We'll keep this super fast. We can move on to our last person here. You slide down the hall here. It's a long metal hallway in a much different style than the building. The building was mostly wood with sort of metal beams here and bits of stone arced in at the top to kind of help it sustain itself. This is all stone and high metal bands like arches, and you're moving down this long corridor. Eventually it branches two ways. The first way goes up a flight of stairs. You can see a sort of hatch that lets you know this probably goes back to the surface. Probably. The other direction goes down a very long hallway, and you can kind of get a sense of it. I'm going to say by default, you know for a fact this is not a place where dream dust is produced. You know the smell. There's a smell of it, very potent, kind of almost like
Smell of the
crystalline
production.
smell in the back of your nose you get from it when it's around. None of that's there. It's possible they maybe store some here, but you wouldn't know enough here to be certain without directly investigating. Can you very, very, very fast for me roll perception, super quick?
Let's see, perception. Actually, I can probably just.
Cool. What you got for me, boss?
Don't know what number that is. That is a 30? What?
Oh, you have a good perception
That doesn't
bonus.
seem right. Oh no.
Oh no, you
That
rolled very
I saw
poorly.
wrong. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a 4.
Give me 1 second.
I would like to look with that 4.
Mhm.
I'd like to look back at the door and see if it is if it shows signs of being constructed after the building.
Shouts
Like
out.
if things don't quite line up, or if it was like this building was built with this secret tunnel in mind.
So, Chelsea, remember when you were like, "Hey, man, I'm wondering why you invited me to this campaign." This is why.
Yeah.
So, because you said that perfectly, I'm gonna just give you this. So you turn and look back at the door, right? You're looking first. You're looking down the hallway, and you're almost getting a sense of what's happening there, and then you hear a sound from behind you, which lets you know very quickly that you should probably get moving, right? Soon. So that's why your perception check rolls so low, because you're like, I gotta go soon, right? That's how I'll flavor that low roll. But as you look back at the door, which again, you're certain if you want to get back outside very fast, that hatch right there would take you right there, no question. Probably put you like behind the building you're in. You look at the hatch, and at first, I'm thinking you're probably wondering if the hatch was built newer than the building. And you're looking at that, and it's not hard for you to tell. You recognize two things. One, it's the opposite. Hatch is older than the building. Way older. Second thing.
Okay.
There's a symbol on the back of the hatch. It's like etched into both the doors, so it makes this like the other one combined symbol when they're both closed. It's a harp. It's like a long harp. The strings seem like they're shifting, but there's no hands or anything. It's just a symbol of a large harp. And yeah, then you start hearing that.
To Rio, would this harp symbol look familiar?
That's the funny thing, Rio. You're pretty in with the movers and shakers, right? You know a lot of the crime families, pretty much in all
Yeah.
of the Gilded Coast, definitely on the western side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Never seen a symbol before in your fucking life.
Interesting. Hmm.
As you
Alrighty.
start hearing that voice behind you, you're suddenly just like, oh, I think I need to go, actually. Like it might be time for you to get moving, because someone from that other side down the hallway that goes further down the hall, you can hear a voice coming
Mhm.
down your way. So you're like, I should
Okay.
either go back out towards the store or out that hatch right now.
Okay.
What do you do?
Let's see. What Rio would do is, let's see. How do I see the okay, there it is.
What you got for me?
I would like to cast Thaumaturgy,
What that do?
and coming from let's see, do I have to see sorry, I don't really know Thaumaturgy that well.
Neither do I.
Range
And
30
I'm the GM.
feet. Let's see. I want to make a sound. Let's see. I want to make a sound that will distract whoever may be coming up that second tunnel
Mm-hmm.
to turn around. Not for super long, but just be like, what was that?
Okay.
Or something of the sort.
I'm gonna say, as
Um,
a person who does espionage and covert operations for like a living, that's like your thing. This is not a problem for you at all, honestly. It's
Mhm.
almost a snap second thing for you. You know.
But also, the
Yeah.
spell doesn't say you have to see the point that you make sounds come from. You just has to be within range. So yeah, you can do it
Yeah.
Okay.
So
other
yeah.
side of the door if you
Yeah.
want. Mm.
You know, you're like, you kind of like, So actually, tell me how it looks when you cast this spell. How does it appear when you do this?
He has like some. How do I? Sorry.
You got it, boss.
I'm doing cool shit. My journal is running.
You got it, dude. Relax. You got this, boss. You're doing great.
So, thin red lines will appear throughout his through his hands as he's focusing this arcane energy, and his horns will actually begin to glow a bit of red, in like where the like I don't know how to explain them. Like the scales of the horn kind of split. There's a bit of red that glows through there as well, and it kind of just builds up, goes brighter, and then disappears and all vanishes through his fingertips as the sound kind of just appears.
Yeah, with the wisp of this red energy, you watch, or you see like it kind of spreads out down the hallway and then vanishes kind of into the walls, and then just from further down the hall, you just hear a voice just go, "Hey!" And whoever was coming down the hall, you can just hear them go, "Huh?" for a split second as you hear their footsteps just stop, and you definitely have a moment.
Yeah, and Rio will absolutely take that moment and um let's see. I think I have advanced sneak or something like that. Um
You're headed out the
yeah, I have
out the
supreme
hatch.
sneak.
Supreme sneak.
Supreme sneak.
Yeah. How far away is this hatch?
It's directly in front of you. Like you can just go out of it without
Okay. Yeah. Um yeah, he'll take that he'll go out the hatch as quiet and as quickly as he can.
Okay. As you're walking out out the hatch, can you roll one more perception check for me and hold the result? Tell me it later.
Already?
Meanwhile, we have one last player to get to. Apologies for the holdup, High Historian. Where are you this evening? What are you up to, and what's on your mind?
So this is the evening following the Interecta, right?
Mm-hmm.
So probably the first thing after the Interecta comes to a close, she would approach Naori and request to speak with her alone, preferably, if she is able to do so.
You catch her at the dinner table. She's speaking with some other minor nobles about something that doesn't seem critically important. She cuts her head to you immediately as you approach. Just, oh, Madam Evermore. Of course, if you'll allow me just a moment. She bids the two a quick dismissal. Her guards follow her out the door, as you can easily follow her with. She brings you down the hall, past some very high stained glass windows towards a door, which is clearly her quarters, which have been made for her for this place in Southmouth. At this point, it's now very late in the evening, so it's dark and most others have already gone to bed. As she opens the door, the guards move to go in with her, and she gives them a quick wave, and they just immediately stop, pivot about, plant their halberds in the ground, and wait outside the door, allowing you to her to enter. Her quarters are honestly Spartan compared to the bedroom you've seen of hers in Westreach. It's significantly less extravagant. Her bed is still easily big enough for 7 or 8 people, but it's, not that great, honestly. Behave yourselves. And outside of that, she looks over at a sort of like desk table area where there's 2 chairs and just says, and sits herself on the edge of the bed, just kind of gestures vaguely to the other side of it and just makes herself comfortable.
And she does so and perches on the other side of the bed and says, "Thank you, I appreciate you holding on to my crystal earlier."
Of course. Happy to be of service.
I do hope that you'll forgive me for the deception that I had to execute after the confrontation in the woods.
All of politics is secrecy, my dear historian. Dear historian, I can't word today. And thus I understand. I do sense something is troubling you, though. Does it surround this subject?
What ended up being in that cipher will have to be made clear. Will have to be brought up to the other members of the house. However, I wanted to speak with you in discretion first.
She offers you a soft smile. You will always have my discretion.
The letter, and I very much applaud Fane and her discretion as well. In the matter, the letter was actually directly written for me from the Lord Crusader. He requested a summons at the same time as the Interecta, which is why I had to step away.
Crusader Lord Talem asked to speak with you specifically.
Yes.
There is rumor among those of us inclined around the court that you and the good Crusader have history.
It's a little more than that, history. What that history is of very little importance. However, the threat that he made is very real.
A threat, you say? Elaborate, please.
Like I had speculated, they are moving forward. He has, as far as I can tell, actually conscripted the Palefall Elves, is moving north, and is also planning to push to a foothold in Risa Isle.
Your assumptions did seem awfully apt. I'd pray it was just conspiracy or perhaps even a bit of suspicion on our parts, but this is perhaps the worst news to come.
Unfortunately so. He has declared that all those who will not see the light of the church are doomed to burn.
Spoken like a typical despot.
Indeed.
She leans forward a bit, it's a look you've seen her do plenty of times in her life, but it's much more deliberate because she's not on like in a desk or a throne. She turns towards you and like leans forward on the bed, deliberately plants her elbows on the bed and sits forward and just. I want to inquire about your history, though I do want to know, but what can you tell me about him?
He is charismatic and devout to a fault, which is why the people have taken to him so readily, despite him withholding his own history and lying to them. The attendant he has that handles their propaganda does very good work, but he isn't just using holy magic, which is something that I was able to confirm while I met him. The time that I knew him previously, he only used holy magic, but there is something else now. Something that I haven't quite pinned down what it is. It feels very ancient, but it has woven its way into his very being. It could almost be mistaken as being innate or not there at all for those who wouldn't know any better.
I will confess that my knowledge of sorcery and magics is less than one of my stations should be. I am not sure what to do with that bit of news, but I am a politician, and thus I know what to do with news of a risk of war. If the church is on a crusade, then we have to prepare ourselves. More than just troops, we will need allies, we'll need to know our enemies, preparation as well. There are so many things that we need to work on. This night will bring me very little rest.
Apologies, I don't mean to keep you from your sleep, but it felt like a matter that needed to be addressed rather quickly, especially while we are amongst those that we are cooperating with while still in Salesworth. We have the present means to communicate with the other territories, most of them, to say the least. And if we decided to prolong the Interecta a little longer, come to an understanding.
Prolonging an Interecta after its closing feast has never been something done before. That may tip cultural norms, but you are onto something. Perhaps we dispatch runners for now to each of the greater houses. See if we can't fish for meetings with each of them, if not anything individually. We need to know who sides with us and who stands against us.
You are correct in that, my dear.
There is unfortunately the truth that the church is powerful. There are many who may capitulate, if not out of agreement, then out of fear.
What has me largely concerned is this dispute between Metri and the Eldari. Both have considerable assets. If we can get them to see eye to eye long enough to help us deal with this, that would be preferable. I would rather not fight a war on two fronts. But we also don't know what's going on with the Crimson Order. We haven't gotten word back from there, have we?
No. I had planned on having our scouts check in when we returned to Westfall, or if we met them on the road. Your You speak great truth here, madam. There is much for us to consider, and I agree we cannot fight a war on two fronts, but mayhap we don't have to. If the Metri and Aldari are to come to blows, and we can't prevent it, we may simply have to take a side. This may be something we discuss later. I have much to think on.
Think and hopefully sleep this evening. And we can always reconvene the house in the morning.
Indeed. If anything, we'll speak on the... Well, if anything... have the serve crew take your horses. You all should ride in my caravan back with us to Westreach. We'll discuss there.
If you're certain, I will make the arrangements then.
You have my thanks, historian. For now, I bid you leave me to these thoughts, and hopefully, the succor of sleep.
She stands and offers a polite curtsy before taking her leave.
She gives you a good once-over up and down before you turn around, and then again when you make your way out. Doesn't say anything, no.
As for the rest of the evening, she's left to kind of ponder her thoughts and that meeting with the Crusader Lord, and finds herself probably outside somewhere, sitting under a tree in the moonlight with a lamp nearby and simply writing in her journal.
Can I get a perception roll from you then, dear Lydia? Real quick.
Sure.
And while you're doing that, I'd like Airdray to tell me the result of your perception check, and also Rio to tell me yours.
26.
You got.
26.
I got an 11.
An 11. And
That's my modifier for perception.
And Lydia?
We have an 11 modifier for perception. Hold on. Anyway, it was
Jeez,
a 14. It was a 14, not nearly the high.
Well,
I'm making a man who's very paranoid. Insight and perception were paramount.
all right, in that case, the following two things happen before we head off to a quick little break. Two things happen. One, Airdray, as you're spending your time off to yourself, you see two things. One, you see a large bird-like figure sail over the high plains outside of Saul's Mouth. It's not a bird, though. It's actually probably Fane now that you're looking at them.
I feel like I've interacted enough with Fane to be like, yeah, that's...
Directly after that, though, you also notice off in the trees there's a... How do I explain this? There's this impression. Airdray, are you perceptive to magic at all in a certain way? Are you able to perceive magical energy?
Yeah, to an extent.
So you you kind of feel this strange etheric semi-haze off in a corner of trees. It's not malignant or negative, and it's not aimed or directed at you, but this very quick haze settles and then is gone. It feels like there was someone or something there who channeled a bit of magic and was then not there. So hold on to that.
Okay.
Meanwhile, over in the town, Lydia, you look over in time to notice that out of the corner of your eye, there's a small shop you can see just barely down the alley of. You see a hatch flip open and a figure make its way out and then come around the corner and like quickly left and right, like look. And by the darker purple skin and the horns on their head, you're like, oh, hey, it's Rio.
Yes, Rio doing Rio things.
You know, that's the best way to put it.
Classic Rio just popping out of a hatch.
Just popping out of basements.
Where'd you come
Classic
from,
Rio.
Ray?
that bit from
Oh,
Emperor's New Groove.
you.
How did that lead me out here?
Oh, that's a roll. Okay. In which case, I guess both of you would see this then, since I just rolled so fucking poorly.
Nah.
Both of you would see, in a side corner off from the alleyway Rio is coming out of, a pair of fluorescent green eyes definitely notice him and then just fade off into the shadows.
Well, that's problematic. Time to follow.
So while I give y'all time to
Yeah.
process that and figure out what to do with those things, let's go to a real quick break. Don't you guys worry. I got plenty of space for y'all to talk about what the fuck just happened with each other and other things, because that's the plan for this session. I hope y'all ready to talk to each other, because that's the game plan for today, is y'all talking a lot. So, be ready for that. For y'all at home, though, be ready to come back and see them talk a lot. But until then, we'll be back in about 5 or 7. Refill your beverage, use the bathroom, but please don't touch that dial or that browser, and we will see you all in just a moment. Bye-bye.
I don't know. Oh, you said 0 twice.
And we return, my dear loves.
That's what we
Return
returned
back
off.
to- That's what we came. It's actually we came right back to take. Good job. And we return to Against the Light, a Kingdoms in Warfare adventure. We left on a pretty intense scene, so rather than summarizing, let's hop right back in. Lydia, you were outside reading your book after a conversation with Madame Nowdy when you saw 2 things happen. One, a hatch opened inside of a building, and Rio stepped out of that hatch and started making his way around the corner. And then you both noticed a pair of glowing green eyes in the shadows in the corner, which saw Rio and then faded out of existence. Or faded back into the shadows. What do you do?
Rio will turn to Nadia. I believe that Lydia. Sorry. Yeah, different person. And kind of like cock his head and just say a single word, magic.
I like to imagine that he just kind of pops up and looks around, sees the eyes, and then sees Lydia, and she just raises an eyebrow, and he's like, "Oh, hi."
Hello. This isn't the weirdest thing you've seen me in. That opens up a lot of doors. I want to shut that down real quick.
But you mouth the word asking if it's magic, and she just nods and closes her book and gets up. Casually makes her way back over to join Rio.
Yeah.
Or
So-
follow him if he chooses to act first.
Yeah, Rio will definitely walk towards where those eyes disappeared to.
You walk into the shadow. You hit something, like you bump something with your hands. It's a wall, because the shadow has to come from somewhere, which would be the wall. It's just a shadow. There's nobody in there.
Hang on. I have a thing.
You got a thing.
You have a
Dark
thing?
vision.
Uh-oh.
Let's see. Let's see. Is this?
You have dark vision?
I don't know if this is magical darkness, but if it isn't, then I might
It's
be able
not.
to see
You
some
can
of it.
clearly see
It's not.
that it's a wall.
Okay.
That's it. It's a wall. You can really see the wall now.
But he might have a way to
Unfortunate.
investigate
Okay.
and look for things, because obviously
Yeah.
something.
I'm gonna look for a Let's see. I'm gonna look for anything that would kind of resemble anything of a thieves' cant, or like some
Symbols or something.
some symbols,
Symbol, you said.
kind of just like inscribed into maybe one of the stones or something
Yes,
of the
you
sort.
Are fucking nailing it today, dude.
Wow.
There's a symbol on the wall. You know what symbol it is?
Is it the fucking harp?
It's the harp.
Damn it. Okay. Well, Rio will.
In the conspiracy theory board now. Rio's gonna be in on it.
Rio will
Rio's being
turn
granted
to.
special access to the wing.
Get as far away from that board as possible. Jesus.
You're like, you're crazy.
You're all just fucking nutters. Pain's just like whatever.
Rio
fuck
will
this,
turn
idiots.
to Lydia and kind of like whisper, "What's behind door number 2?" and push on this harp symbol.
You push on the harp symbol. So you're putting your hand, just for clarity, you're putting your hand on the harp symbol, and you're pushing it in.
Mm.
That's the thing you want to do?
I mean, you know, secret doors are secret doors, and very often it's like the pushing of a thing, like pushing of a button.
Will you
What
at
could
least
possibly
allow
go
me?
wrong?
Will you at least allow me to see if I can get some insight into that before you start activating things we might not be able to reverse?
Tell you what.
Love to push a wall sight unseen.
Here's what's gonna happen. Here's how it's gonna happen.
I get it.
I need 2 things to happen.
up?
First, Lydia, before you roll investigation, I need you both to roll initiative real quick. Don't worry, you're not getting into combat.
Ready?
That's
No.
a
Numbers?
15 for me.
18.
Oof. Leah, you go to. Hey, at least could you let me? By the time you get to let me, he's already pressing the thing. Chows, can you give me a con save, buddy, Rio? Please.
Let's see. Constitution. Oh, I think that was my dump stat, maybe.
I know.
Nope, it was not. Okay, how do I roll Constitution
You press the button.
on this? Oh, there it is.
Click that button.
Hey, 20.
Oh, we love big numbers. Counter roll. Oof.
With that
Okay.
+1
Uh-huh.
modifier.
So Lydia, could you roll Arcana for me as your way to investigate real quick? Rio, you touch this wall. Nothing happens. You feel a bit of a shimmer. Nothing happens though. Lydia, what you got for that Arcana for me though?
That is a 30.
That's a big number.
Because I have large modifiers.
Lydia, you feel a almost corrosive force of magic briefly skitter out of this mark, just for half second. Like it laces all around the air in Rio, tries to almost sip through his fingers, but just isn't able to get that hold. And then it kind of washes out into the area, almost like it was checking him for something. In fact, I'll even say you click it together pretty easily. It's like the magical presence that came out of the symbol was checking him for a similar magical presence. And it's then you recognize, you've seen that symbol before.
It's already on the board.
On the board!
It's on the fucking board.
You said door number 2. Does that mean you've seen this harp before?
Yes, although I
That's
believe I saw the symbol from the other side of the door. There's a shop near here that that my assistant is in. I hope they're still there. Fuck's sake.
It's right behind y'all.
She just appears.
Just there.
Very
What?
well.
Like,
Oh
hey.
no, I meant the store is right behind y'all. Like
Yeah,
the store
it's
you
like,
know
you
about.
mean
Alrighty.
It's right
you
there.
mean the building that
Yeah.
you just crawled out from under?
I didn't know how long this tunnel went for. I don't know how many walls there are between here. I was underground. But sorry, I say that as if it wasn't obvious to her.
She kind of leans forward. She leans forward to kind of look over this a symbol and trace around the edge of it, looking for any more like additional markings that might be around it. Because yes, this some a day point of magic, but usually there's also something associated with that that can give away what the purpose is.
Oh,
So tell me about this harp.
you're all so fucking God. You're all just so great. It's like I don't even gotta give y'all the bait. I just kind of put the thing in, and you're all like, what if it's this thing? And I'm like, ah. You just take it. Like it's like I just Anyway, so what happens is
Magic and history. I've got 2 things I'm good at.
it's almost like
We've each got like 2 things, and like they're both different things. So like we're kind of able to
Yeah,
like
that works
add them
great.
together in like this hash.
It's like you're I don't know, like an adventuring party or something. I don't know.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
We compliment.
So what happens?
I think I've heard of a few.
So what happens is,
Disgusting.
please, I gotta come back to this scene. Oh, you guys are great. Oh, okay. So, examining the magical symbol and the connected magic runes, you recognize that while the symbol of the harp is definitely carved into the wall, there is an invisible magical nexus almost around the second campaign where I've had magic be like a nexus of symbols. It's the second time I've had magic be that campaign. Huh. Anyway, so yeah, we'll go with that. You see a sort of weird nexus of symbols as you kind of tap into your second sort of arcane sight briefly. And you pick up 2 distinct things. One, you were absolutely correct. There was, in your first assumption, that the magic was trying to connect to Rio in order to kind of like feel out if he had a similar magic within him to it. What you register was if it did trigger, if it worked for him, he did, it would trigger the second part of the matrix, which is a teleportation spell, would have taken him somewhere else.
Well, that's curious.
Yeah,
Road
I don't
trip,
know what's
road
wrong
trip.
with this one, and he will reach for the harp symbol again.
Nope.
What?
Just grabs his hand
mean-
and like, don't.
You
Like,
sure?
I mean, it felt a little tingle like it was gonna work, but I don't. I have a feeling this one
There-
needs a key.
Well,
Wait a minute. Okay,
yes.
so first off,
What happened?
the number. Sorry, to jump in front of you. Door number 1 was in the store, and it was leading to a secret hallway. The door was built first, the store second. So, take that as you will. That's as much as I know.
And the first door also had a symbol of the harp.
Yes, on the backside.
Interesting. Carved? Or was there anything around it?
I could just see the carving. I didn't get much of a reading around it. There was a handle of metal from the other side of the wall, or the other side of the door.
What, that tingle that you felt
Yes.
was corrosive magic. When you put your hand on the symbol, it activated a... How do I describe this? Imagine putting a key into a lock.
Okay.
If the person is the key,
The door.
this
will
is the...
lock. Okay.
It was... The tingle you felt was the corrosive magic, testing the key to see if it also had corrosive magic. Which would then activate the second part of the spell to teleport them somewhere.
Okay. Now let's stick with the key. Are we able to peer in? Are we? I mean you. Are you able to peer into this lock and maybe, for happenstance, pick it? Or at least figure out how it ticks? I'm not super well versed in the arcane arts myself.
DM, is that a thing we can do?
Is that?
It You know, it just might be a thing you can do. I'm gonna need our house historian, more specifically our house historian's player, to check their Discord DMs in just a moment. 1 second.
Excellent. You also need to tell me about what this heart symbol is from, by the way.
Oh, I'm telling you that right
Oh,
now.
it's okay.
Are you saying heart with a T or
Harp.
harp with a P?
Harp. Musical instrument.
Like
Musical
musical
instrument.
instrument.
Cool.
Mm.
I thought it was harp, but I wanted to check.
So yeah, now that you have that information, do with that what you will.
So much information.
I'm actually very curious to see where this goes.
I will say, with
Rio
that
is
30,
too.
you can feel, not necessarily directly exactly where, like, point to point where this goes, but you can get almost like a direction of, like, where the sort of teleportation side of it, like, links to. It's, here, if you're looking at the map, basically, it's off here-ish, off to the further west, deeper into the Aten Mountains.
I can't necessarily get a exact location. It looks like it takes you somewhere deeper west into the mountains. What do we know about that area?
Sorry, Urban's losing it.
I grew up there.
Urban's having
Oh.
a great time right now.
Ah, so the mountains are Fey realm.
That's not a good way to describe anything with the Fae. Like, they don't hold land. They are very, very.
Well, that's where, like,
moving
when-
communities.
Like, we live here.
But like, there is an enclave in those mountains, and there are actually probably like a dozen or so. They don't necessarily need emissaries because they don't. The Aten Mountains just like aren't as settled as other parts closer to us.
They don't have neighbors that they need to have a representative for.
Exactly.
House so big I ain't got no neighbors. Anyway,
It's-
guys quoting rap lines.
Look, I got cousins living in the middle of
Yes,
freaking nowhere,
yeah.
Idaho, and it's the same way. You could just, they don't got neighbors for miles. It's fine.
Curious.
I mean, to
Well,
be
it would
fair,
be-
if we, sorry, again, if we were to pick it and activate this second stage, we'd be able to learn the exact positioning, no?
Yes, but unlike you and your reckless behavior, I'm not very inclined to vanish into who knows where without a notable means to get back.
Fucking shots fired. Holy shit. Oh god. Holy fuck.
I have an idea on where it goes and what this is associated with. I believe that we might actually want to talk to Fane. If we can talk, we might be able to talk to her tonight or revisit it at another time, but regardless, I don't think it's wise to follow our green-eyed friend.
I mean, teleportation spells work two ways, don't they? Or is it just one? Am I... Again, I don't...
I don't think you'd know.
No, it's just it's funny to me because like that's 100% Rio's assumption, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, why would they not work on this?
It's also
Yeah, like,
a perfectly fair
it
assumption to
transports
make. Hey,
people
oh,
from
yeah,
one
hold
place
on,
to
you know?
another.
Let's not
It's
be
like a
mean.
road, right? It's
like
like a
that
magical road.
It's like a door. You can go
Yeah.
in one way and you can come out the
Yeah,
other.
you can
It's
go the back
fine.
way.
Yeah, that's how it works, right?
I'm just saying, I buy it. Anyway.
It's not like jumping off a cliff where it's just like, oh, well, getting back is a lot harder than the other. I'm like, this
And
dude
could be, you
obviously
don't
was
know.
able to
Settling
easily
us back on
traverse.
track, please, if you don't mind. Would y'all like to resolve this scene in some way?
Rio will. Oh, what? Okay, Rio will inscribe his own kind of mark. It's going to be a J with another J inside of it, kind of down in the lower parts of this wall, and that way he can remember this specific wall.
Understood. You carve with the end of a knife. You carve a double inverted J into the side of the wall, and it's just there. Good job. You did it. You defiled public property. Congratulations. Anything else you want to do?
Property, right?
On the walk back, it's probably just a lecture about, like, no, that's not how teleportation magic works.
And
300 level
Rio will
course
constantly be
down in
like,
an hour.
but it's like a road, right? Like it moves
No.
things from one place to another.
Why can't it
Theoretically-
go
So
back?
what's stopping it
I
from
don't
going
understand
the
that.
other way?
Anyways,
If it goes one way, why can't I go this way? That doesn't make a lot of fucking sense to me personally. Just
And
a lot
then
of
like
this
towards the end
constantly.
he'll be like,
At some
so
point-
wait, maybe it's less of a road and more of like a river, but you don't have an oar. Is that like you just float down the river? Is that more of how it works?
No.
So you would need like another
wish
river.
Airdrie was part of this
Yeah.
conversation. I'm sorry.
I imagine that
anyways.
we're walking past Airdrie at some point, so he just hears this.
Maybe we will see at some point. I didn't want. That was
if-
the thing I was gonna say. Is like they might jump into this conversation depending on how Airdrie's scene goes,
Well,
but we'll see.
Let's just say that while the two of you debate magical theory, let's cut on over to Airdrie, who we left off with another surprising note. You noticed a haze of magical energy kind of shimmer and then disappear entirely.
Yeah, I think his first instinct, because like it's definitely magic in the sense of like a person has done this thing, not like sort of a natural just fluctuation of magic as it exists in the world, right? Or do I get a sense of that?
Yeah, it's definitely a person.
Yeah, and also I definitely haven't seen someone walking around out here with me recently, right?
Nope.
I've been alone out here. Yeah, then his first instinct is to literally like drop to the ground in whatever tall grass he's in to just stay hidden. And can I still see Fane like flying above me somewhere?
Yep. It's around this time of night. Just, like Fane would have not have landed in their quarters just yet.
Then I would say, I'm assuming, and maybe tell me if this is wrong, that there would be some understanding, some signal since Fane and Airdrie have trained together of like danger in some way. Like just some like Morse code quick symbol of danger might happen or like be aware. And Airdrie's goal would be to pull one of his little metal darts and try and reflect the moonlight to like make that symbol up towards her. And as soon as he sees her flight pattern change, cast Pass Without a Trace on himself and start looking for whatever the hell just did that magic thing.
Can I say you could probably just whisper under your breath? Like,
Yeah, but the thing that I'm hiding from might also have very good hearing.
Which is why you
that's
could
fair.
caw.
No, he doesn't have that much faith in his bird impression.
Caw!
Like the robot scene.
You have a little owl whistle.
I like that.
That's a
shit.
symbol, sure, but like, he's not gonna just say out loud, "There's something here." His goal is to hide signal of as subtly as possible, if he can, to Fane, and then start looking for this thing. But also Pass Without a Trace, so he can do it without being noticed.
All right. So,
Whatever series of rolls I gotta do for that.
I'm gonna save you a lot of trouble and a lot of time.
Yeah.
Here's what happens. You
Mhm.
you go full on Splinter Cell mode. You fade your way deep.
Yeah,
into
yeah,
shadows,
exactly.
You know, the moonlight almost moving through your skin as you just suddenly find yourself just blending in the terrain around you. You almost become a ghost. You know, you still all your
Yeah.
muscles make only precise and focused movements. You become like one with the breeze almost, and you ghost your way towards this place. Fane, you definitely notice that, like, you know, because again, you two have trained together for a while. You kind of notice that focus on Airdrie's face as he kind of settles into that resolve, and then you start seeing his emotions become much more focused. Almost like, from your perspective, it's, you can definitely see him still, but you're certain that if he's definitely trying to keep himself not seen from someone or something, no question. Airdrie, you approach where this magical shimmer was. Not only is the magical shimmer gone, but there's nobody there. You rolled 26 for your deception, though, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep that roll for you. You see something in the tree, or on the tree in front of you? It's a carving. Do you want to guess what it's a carving of, Tate?
Well, Tate, I'm gonna guess it's a heart, but Airdrie has no idea what it might be. Yeah.
So Tate, feel free to let Airdrie know that it's a heart. He sees a heart in front of him.
Yeah, because magic has happened, and because, not to bag more on Rio, Airdrie's been around the block a little more. He definitely would have done the same mistake.
Had more time, okay?
No, that's the point I want to make clear. Airdrie definitely would have pressed it when he was younger. At, like, even 100 years old, he might have just pressed it. He's, like, getting on to 300 now. He's like, no, I'm not doing that. He might actually flick a dart at it just to see if anything happens at, like, distance. He'd carefully take the dart out, look at it, try and memorize it, maybe, like, write down the symbol.
Okay.
And
as soon as I see you, like, abandon caution, I'm gonna do something.
What's that?
Yeah.
It's on a tree, you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to cover it. I'm gonna grab some vellum in one hand so I can't touch the symbol. I'm gonna grab my knife in the other, and I'm gonna pry the bark off so I get the symbol in a whole piece.
Yeah, no roll for that. I'm gonna go ahead and say that Fane.
If you're sitting here like, ooh, be careful, don't, it might go off.
Fane, you feel just lingering faintly in the air around your hand, a slight magical presence that I'll say, even without a roll, you definitely know, and it's maybe hard for you to recall. I'll ask you to do like history roll maybe later if you want to, but you definitely know you felt at least a magic kind of like this maybe once before in your life. Twice, a couple times. You felt it before. Definitely, no question.
Yeah. I take the symbol intact, because it's carved into the symbol, not into the tree. And I wrap it in vellum, and I put it such that I am unlikely to bump it on accident.
Makes sense. You are able to keep this slab of tree bark, this little cut of tree bark, secured and wrapped away and folded on your personage. It is on you. You have it. Airdrie, I'll say you also have a copy of the symbol written down, because I'll say you got that before.
Yeah.
And, the hack jot it. But
I assume he's a bit of a speed sketcher. Like, he roughly sketches stuff all the time.
Yeah, no question. You got it, though. It's all good. You got that locked down.
Other than that, I mean, Airdrie wouldn't, like, confer really with Fane, but would sort of nod, like, saying, yeah, that was a good choice. And then mostly just sort of stealth patrol his way back to the castle. He's still not convinced that there's not someone around, because someone just did magic in his presence without him knowing someone was there already, so he's a little about it.
Right.
Yes?
In which case, here's what we'll do. And I know there was one other thing that wanted to be done for the evening. It was mentioned by Fane. So we'll cut to that scene, but right before we do that, Tate, could you roll me one last perception roll?
If I'm not holding it, I will just roll it in here. 13. All right.
I'll say with the 13, you don't notice anything else the rest of the night. No one else appears on your no one else appears on your radar for the evening. You're just kind of chilling, watching the garrison. No other magical disturbances. It's all just quiet. Fane, you eventually, I'll say, like, that scene happens in between you before you hanging out in the tower talking to your mirror and you ending up back in your quarters. So you eventually end up back in your quarters, out on the window. You kind of land, I'll say, like, you perch yourself on the window of like on the sill of your balcony, probably. And just maybe like 10 or so, not even 10 or so, maybe 3 or so feet down is another balcony. You're kind of like, your room's at the edge of the wing of rooms that were yours. So that next room definitely isn't held by someone that is a part of House Vairdans. You know that because the person who probably owns that room is out on the balcony. They don't acknowledge you at first or say anything, but they are statuesque and muscled. They have on a shimmering red dress of just glittering crimsons and different colors that perfectly blends and aches to well-sculpted muscles. You can see the impression of what look like scales around parts of their cheek and face, and two reptilian eyes, and they're just kind of minding their business, absently sipping a glass of wine and staring out to the horizon. They haven't spoken to you at all.
It's not Jal.
Not himself, no.
It's the... Okay. Thane will do the very disruptive thing of, like, her talons, her foot talons, like, grab the edge of the balcony, and she just swings herself over like a bat. and she's hanging upside down. Where's your father?
She looks over, looks back before speaking. At home, in Waywatch.
And you're certain of that. Why wouldn't he come to the Interecta?
Why would he bother with a bunch of lower things? My father is ancient and powerful. He has no care for the boring politics of lesser beings.
Wow, you've really drunk that cider, huh? No, I don't believe that to be true. So either I can find out from him later, and I can tell him that you kept that information from me, whom I'm sure he would very much like to see. She glints her teeth at this, sire. Or you can tell me honestly, and we won't have any problems, because I would like to talk to him. You are making that difficult.
She looks over at you. The look she gives is... I'm actually going to go ahead and ask you to roll insight for me, if you don't mind.
I'm not good at it, but I don't mind doing it.
Give me what you got.
Oh no.
That's a 3.
Uh-oh.
That's as low as I can roll.
I'll just gonna go ahead and say the look you get from her is just open ire. It's just disdain. Like, and you no clue what's causing it, but the look she gives you is just like you're the lowest thing in existence on the sentience ladder, and she would like to stamp you out of it. But she reaches, puts down the wine glass, looks at you, and as you mentioned, your two options: either you'll get it from him the first, or you'll tell him that he wasn't that she didn't give that info to him. She kind of growls a bit and just says, "The former," turns and walks back into like the room supporters of hers. It's not many moments after before she comes back out. This time holding a scroll. This was given to my party. If you were here, I was told to either leave it with your patron or you.
I snatch it up, goblin-like. Just...
She flexes her hand a bit and just... He would love to know you would speak with him so dearly.
Oh, I know. He's predictable in that way. And I will, I appreciate your cooperation. What was your name again? He has such a large, and she chews on her words for a second. Brood.
Almire. I would say I
Thank you, Almire.
She says, I would say I appreciated the honor of your company, but my father taught me better than to lie.
And she'll reach out with her other claw and just like pinch the cheek.
Ah!
Good view. And curl up and go back into her room to read the missive.
Yeah. You'll see just like a vein just build on her eyebrow as you're just like pinching her cheek, and then you scurry off. And yeah, we'll say the night is mostly left to the rest of you all. Lydia and Rio, you are able to make it back to your quarters unmolested, unperturbed. No one bothers you. I'm assuming you're all on a bit more high alert as that all just happened. So even without rolling perception, I'll say that you are certainly more aware of things, and you don't see anything happening. Rio, I see a finger. What's up?
Does Morgan? Oh goodness, Vermin's camera. But does Rio? Does Morgan make it to the rendezvous point?
You know, it's funny. So you gave Rio orders, or sorry, Rio. You gave Morgan orders to meet you somewhere after you got out of, if you didn't return from the old store, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get to the rendezvous point. Where is it, by the way? Where's the rendezvous point?
It is not like a single block away from the quarters that we are currently staying at.
So, oh man, this keeps happening too well. So, I'm gonna warn y'all now. After this, we're cutting to a quick break again. I'm just gonna let y'all be aware of that. Let's all be aware of the warning that we're gonna have to, unfortunately. But don't worry, everything will go fine from here, I assure you. Lydia and Rio, you two are sitting at the rendezvous point. It's about 3 minutes before the time you're supposed to meet. You're supposed to rendezvous if things get, go poorly or anything. And I'd like to know, as you're taking down the time, Rio, how are you occupying your time and waiting for Morgan? Also, have you informed Lydia that you're waiting for someone? And if not, I'm going to go ahead and say you guys can take the scene from here, you two. And you know what? I'm even willing to say, if you guys want, for the sake of the scene, you all can be here if you want.
Sure, I think that maybe Airdrie has been convinced to relax the smallest amount.
Yeah, I mean, you did mention, it was a joke throwaway, but you mentioned that you two would have walked past Airdrie while you were talking about magic and rivers, so I'm willing to play
Even
out
like, no, teleportation's more like jumping.
Yeah.
It's more like jumping to a direction. It takes just as much effort to get back.
Like
Lydia's just like, God.
Yeah, like Airdrie, you've retreated back up to like the castle wall, kind of like hanging out there, keeping an eye out when you hear just like an argument from the bottom. It's like, so it's like a river almost, it's like a door, and then just like, no, not at all. And you're just like, I know those two. And you turn and hop over and you find them, and not too long.
He probably heard them from the other end of the castle. He has 11 in perception. He's like, the argument's happening.
Those two voices sound very familiar, and one of them is very angry at the other.
I know that exasperated tone.
Exactly. And we'll say, even for the sake of, I hate to keep playing with the sense of time here, but we'll say this even happens just before, Fane, you make your way home for the evening. So before this happens, you manage to catch the rest kind of, hanging out overhead. And you're like, oh, I'll go see what they're up to real quick. If you want, you're more than welcome to. I won't assume for you, obviously. But if you'd like, you're more than welcome to join the three of them down there if you'd like to be a part of this upcoming very small scene. Otherwise, you can say you just head home for the evening and take care of your own things. Your call.
Is there like a fountain nearby or anything?
Chouse, is there a fountain nearby?
You will. So Chow.
Third
My
person. Wow.
You're doing wonderful. It's all right. Deep breath. You're doing fine.
So Rio is like half in conversation, and anyone who like looks at him for like more than like a second will notice that he is not like actively participating. His mind is elsewhere, and you will see in his hand he has an onyx gemstone that he is anxiously flipping around in his hand and kind of just rubbing, and occasionally he will lift it up to his mouth and whisper some words. These words are typically check in or ping. These are code words that him and Morgan have gone over, and if he is not hearing a response, he will continue to get more and more anxious.
So Lydia,
That doesn't answer the very important question of, is there a fountain nearby?
Yes, that's also important.
He,
Paramount.
you will say, follow the sound of
No.
water.
Wait, is there a
No,
fountain
we're
nearby?
asking you, the player who invented this
I'm
location.
Player.
Is there a fountain
What?
near the meeting location? I'm just asking you. Just do you think that the meeting location
Oh.
is near a fountain?
Yes or no?
I am so fucking dumb. I am
Collaborative world
sorry.
building, Chouse. It's all right. You're doing great.
Listen, I thought the
We
DM
are
was supposed to.
immersive.
I'm just a dumbass in this
Collaborative
game.
world building, baby.
There is a slight waterworks up against a wall in a kind of like a corner. It's connected to the aqueduct system
There you
of the city
go.
to give the large populace of source of fresh water.
There you go, Chouse. Easy.
See,
there you
when
go.
I'm able to like focus and like not have like 300 tabs open.
Just let it happen, bro. You just gotta let it happen. Any case, Fane, you are aware.
Sometimes you gotta close them tabs, man. It's
Water
fine.
wheel nearby the location they're meeting at. Hit it.
Fane is doing a little bird bath, like
Yeah.
sticking her face in the water and like flicking it back.
She's
and,
like
doing
7
the
feet
whole
tall.
thing.
It's not a little bird bath.
Little body shake.
It's
Body roll.
well, it's not like a full bird bath. Like she's not,
I'm just kidding.
you know.
like
It's
the
a
Korean
fairly
like the
proportionate
cup
bird
bath.
bath.
It's a proportionate bird bath.
The water inside the palace, they always just bring it to you in tubs, and it's never big enough. So she just, you know, a little outdoor bath just
So-
before she goes to sleep.
Uh,
Niceties.
As the three of you are gathering and/or discussing magical teleportation rivers and/or bathing,
Gotta.
Lydia, you're noticing Rio pace back and forth and whisper into this small obsidian stone repeatedly. And as the minutes tick on, it gets a bit more frantic as Rio, it very quickly goes from 3 minutes before meetup time to 2 minutes before, to a minute before, to meetup time. And as it is now, Morgan's 4 minutes late.
Has Rio been hearing anything from the stone in this time?
Nope. But yeah, the rest of you, and I'll leave you all in the scene for a brief minute. You all see Rio just pacing back and forth around this area, just frantically whispering into the stone.
Airdrie would sort of lean in, and he's very quietly just, something tells me you didn't take us here for the fountain and the food.
No.
If we're in a circle, my back is to Rio, and I kind of look at the two of you, and then my neck spins 180 to look over my shoulder. And then I look back.
Rio will set the stone face down on a table and take a real deep breath to be like. He will turn to, I can't remember names for the life of me, Lydia, and say to her, I hate to prove you right 2 times in a night, but I'm afraid I will have to have a singular venture. If you all do wish to join me, you are welcome to try to keep up. However, I may move quite quick. Actually, no, Airdrie, you can move way faster than I can. Fuck.
Yeah, Airdrie does laugh. Like, he doesn't say anything, but he's just like, when you say that.
Yeah, just like, wait a minute. But, yes, my assistant is missing, and she knows a lot of things and a lot of critical information. She does not have the strongest of minds. What? They? Oh,
Right, details.
right. Yeah. They do not have the strongest of minds, and they know a lot of crucial information. and he will just take off without saying another word. And he's not like full on sprinting, but he is running at a decent click for him.
Are you headed
Nice.
back towards the store?
Yeah, back towards the store.
Okay.
Well, I would like Airdrie to sort of not really stop him as much as maybe slow him down by walking sort of in front of him and being like, look, I understand that you're worried for them, but are you sure it's wise to go back to where they may have been caught? There'll be people watching there.
Hey, Lydia and Fane, can y'all both roll perception for me real quick?
You may need a disguise. Are
to.
you good at that?
Possible.
Possible.
Put your numbers in the chat so I know.
My main concern is he'll hold up his hand and then look at kind of just like look down and say, my complexion is a bit noticeable. And he will reach into kind of a pocket somewhere and pull out some gloves to cover up his hands. It is the face I am most concerned about. The horns can only do so much about that.
Fane will walk up to you as you're having this conversation, having overheard you, and just boop, and you're invisible.
Where'd I go?
And I'll boop Airdrie as well.
Okay. Airdrie wasn't expecting help with that. He just...
I don't
I'm
think you all need to worry too much about that way. She is picking up the stone that Rio had left on the table.
Damn it. Rio will kind of... Rio will
Nods.
to himself look down and be like, I need better control of my nerves, and take the stone slowly out of their hand.
She directs her eyes to the opposite end of the road. There's Morgan. It seems she was rather shaken up.
And as you look over to the direction Lydia indicates, true to form, there is the figure of Morgan. Their hair is matted all about their face. They are clutching at themselves. There's no blood or injury you can see on their clothing, but their face looks panicked and ill.
Okay.
They look at you, just, Sire, I'm sorry.
invisible.
yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
You can just choose to not be invisible once it's happened.
Oh,
yeah,
you
right,
can?
Right. I forgot you're visible.
I didn't know I had the option to do that.
Yeah.
Technically,
Okay.
it's like you take an action to attack something, but you can just like choose to not be. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. Rio will once Rio sees Morgan, he will begin full sprinting towards her.
Them.
God damn it.
Takes time. Don't worry about it. And yeah, the moment you reach them, they kind of just collapse forward. They just kind of fall over. You get your hands on them, and they are cold. Very cold. And also covered in sweat.
Okay, cold sweats, Okay.
Lydia, Fane, and actually also Airdrie. Arcana checks, real quick.
You may be surprised to know that's the thing that I am not super good at.
I know.
17's not bad for someone with a -1 in that, huh?
At all.
That one is a 20.
22.
Still the lowest out of all three.
So, our two more magically inclined people, Airdrie, you get the feeling of this magical energy. You feel a very faint magical haze around Morgan. The other two, though, Lydia and Fane, you feel distinctly a magical, almost stink about Morgan's form, and it's pretty familiar. As in, both of you felt it coming off of those harp marks you saw in the wall.
Does it seem like if she comes into contact with somebody, it'll corrupt them as well?
By the way, the fact that that Rio is actively holding them, and you don't feel that magic kind of creeping over him at all, you wager no.
Okay.
Fane will involuntarily hiss.
Oh, it's actually Fane.
Rio.
You. Yeah. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it because both of y'all. Well, Fane, you would know what this is, and Lydia just mentioned detect magic, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say it for everybody here, both the audience and all the cats here. Bit of that dramatic irony. One of you have felt this happen once before, and one of you have studied this effect and know what this is after getting a good look at it. They've been Medusa cursed.
Fane,
Really
I
doing
need you
this
to
to me?
answer me honestly. You trust Ilum, correct?
Absolute, like, low glower. We've been over this.
We have, but
Imagine-
I still have to ask because there's only one known Medusa present. Although I would wager those could have been the green eyes that we saw vanish. And given that their link went back towards an enclave,
Don't Medusa's curses fall upon anyone who their gaze falls upon?
For this, because they're different Medusa, because I do homebrew stuff, because fuck D&D lore.
You know what? Fair enough.
Would Rio make that bad assumption, or is that like a racist
That's
thing?
up to
sounds
you.
like a real thing.
That sounds like a real assumption.
Rio only knows, like if you were to skim through a magical library and say, I think I know enough, that is everything he knows about the magical world. So
So the Dunning-Kruger effect, but for magic stuff.
yes.
I will also say,
But the thing is that he knows so little, but he knows so little because it doesn't make any fucking sense to him.
that makes sense. I will say also, it's definitely only Lydia and Fane who are aware that this is what's happening.
Okay.
They did just say something a little bit about Medusas and such.
Yeah.
Do we know if it can be
Uh,
reversed?
One more time, sorry.
Do we know if there's a way to reverse it?
In your studies, never encountered it.
What Fane will say in response to Lydia, Aelin would not do this. She doesn't view it as... I've already been over this. She would not do this.
I'm taking you at your word. I don't know of a way to reverse this. Do you know if she does?
I would have to ask. There's knowledge that she has that we don't. And it's from her time living with other Medusa. So I can fetch her and see what she knows.
Still invisible, Airdrie would just, his voice from next to them, probably we should bring them to her, not the other way around.
Correct. So let us transport Morgan post haste.
Rio will begin.
Margaret's also going to stay invisible as long as possible so that he is not seen as he gets to observe everyone. He's having a great time with this. He's like, this is the best.
Rio will fumble around a little bit with a lesser healing potion that he has begun carrying just for Morgan. It even has her name inscribed on it, and like try to like get her to drink it. And he will
Oh dear.
like begin saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry," to Morgan, like I have failed you.
It definitely works their way, down their gullet. You can see them force a swallow through. They don't immediately wake up or regain consciousness. You can see like that strained, like pain on their face lessen just a tiny bit.
Thane is gonna move in between. I let the others know where Ilan's room is, and I'm going to kind of pull Rio away. Because he's not going to be any use.
AJ will become uninvisible to carry the injured person, begrudgingly.
Yeah, don't make the minions do that.
Rio, do you resist being pulled away?
He does not. He's just kind of shaking because he doesn't know what the fuck to do. He's like, this is something that I don't know in a land that I don't really know that well, with involving a house that I don't know, involving magic I don't know, and he's just like trying to find a way to make this better, but he knows that unless he has a proper plan, he will just be in the way.
So, seeing that he is probably borderline kind of hyperventilating, going a mile a minute, Lydia just winds her arm through his and walks forward. Airdrie walking at either, well, Fane's probably going first, and then Airdrie, and they'll walk after him and just talks with him, talks with Rio in a rather quiet, assuring voice, and says, I know that this is stressful, it is very foreign. But right now, all you can do is put one foot in front of the other, take one step at a time. We are taking them, correcting myself, taking them to see someone that will have more knowledge on how to address what is afflicting Morgan and hopefully have a way to reverse it. We'll have answers.
A single question after Lydia is done speaking.
We'll have answers. You just have to breathe, walk with us, and listen.
Is that what the hop symbol would have done to me on the stone wall?
No, it is not what the harp would have done. That magic was corrosive. It would have eaten away at you. This is a different affliction.
Okay. And as they walk, Rio will slowly be able to regain control over his breathing and his very obvious handshaking.
I'm gonna go ahead and say you all go straight to Ilan. because
Ilan.
Ilan.
with
I had it right the first time. Damn it.
Yep.
So, you all head straight to Ilan.
Wondered.
Ilan's quarters are not that far. They're actually like opposite wall, basically from you, Fane. So inner wall as opposed to outer wall where you have the balcony. You make your way straight there. You carry in. The moment you all are at the gates, a few of the guards, there's 4 guards there. 2 of them immediately, fully man the post, offer you all crisp salutes. The other 2 see you all carrying Morgan and come in immediately to help lift them, take them in a 2-person carry and move them into the building so you all can have freedom of movement. Naori is awake as you all come in and storm your way down the hall. The commotion you make down the stone, halls echoes everywhere, and she flings her door open. Just what seems to be happening, but doesn't follow that up as she sees you all dart past towards Ilan's quarters. You guys. So the last question I'll ask you guys, I guess, is how are you doing this? Are you just barging the door into Ilan's quarters and jumping in? Are you knocking and opening? And what's the call?
I think that's up to Fang because Fang gets there
yeah.
first.
It's true, Fane. What's the call?
I mean,
does
just checking.
Ilan have a window?
Ancient person.
Ilan is inner, so in the inner castle sanctum, yes, there's a small window that does lead to Ilan's bedroom. So yeah, you could.
Okay,
go around
so
the
I
window.
think
Small one though, you have to crawl through.
Rat
I
tap
think
tap. There's a
One
heartbeat
of
at
the
your
things
Ever
window.
knocking
I think about
at my bedroom door every morning.
All right. Go ahead.
I am coming out to the outside of the window, and I'm with my 4 talon rapping on their window, or if it's the balcony, I'm just calling out, Ilan, something's happened.
You see a figure move towards the shade behind the curtain and then shift it over. Just, milady, what seems to be the issue?
I want it noted on the record that Ilan's hair is very similar, but that the snake hair is Californian red-sided garter snakes, which are very pretty.
Okay. Yeah, they are very pretty.
They're
You
very
don't want to
pretty.
mess with them. They're very pretty. They're fine. They're good.
Yeah. One of the staff for Rio has been afflicted by the Medusa Curse, and I'm asking for your safety first. Have you been around other people most of the night?
Milady, I've been here the whole evening. I haven't left my chambers.
Did anybody see you come in?
The guards, perhaps? Maybe Madame Vairdans?
Okay. Don't panic. If you know anything about attending to somebody who has just been cursed or reversing the curse, we are going to need your help immediately. I will take care of anything about protecting you. You know that I will look after you. You see if you can help Morgan. They are in dire.
I'd say at this time, you all make it to the door. Do you knock? You barge in? What's the call?
Airdray's probably mostly
Knock.
occupied with trying to do a medicine check to make sure the person they're carrying is stable, that they're fine. But I only rolled an 8, so probably didn't do super well.
Yeah, I see a knock over there from Lydia.
We're urgent, but we're polite.
Fair enough. It's at this exact moment that you hear that knock, and Ilan turns around, lifts their head around. The stakes kind of all perk up a little bit in her hair. She quickly moves to the door. Now that she's aware of what's happening, flings it open. You all bring Morgan in and place her. She lets you place her directly on her bed.
Keep forgetting the name.
Ilan looks at them on the bed. Her face goes pale, just ghost-like. And as she looks up at you,
Lydia asked her to see other attendants out.
yeah, the 2
Sorry.
guards just head back out. Then they immediately just back out and assume that it's private business. As she looks at Morgan and tries to take in all that's happening, you'll see her kind of shake her head a bit. And as you talk about what to do, very solemnly she speaks. There is nothing that I can do. The Medusa Curse is not reversible. And what's worse, she's received only her first half of the blessing. Milady, you'll recall when you spoke with me, I told you of my origin story. I was changed on the battlefield, cursed, long ago. But with only the Medusa's curse and not their magic, I began to rot away. It was only after I was blessed with a sufficiently potent source of outside magic that I was able to stabilize the curse within myself. A similar thing will happen here. If you wish to save your friend, and I know you all do, you will have to speak with Ithrica.
How much time do we have?
A week, perhaps. Less, maybe, if her body is not strong. Their body is not strong.
You not think Nick could tap the ley lines? Do something?
I suppose it's certainly possible. It worked for me, yes? I don't know enough about this to bank on that, honestly. If anything, the bigger concern is if I know that I didn't, and I know that I didn't, curse young Morgan here myself, it means one of Ithrica's servants, or worse, Ithrica herself, is likely the culprit. And I would like to know why.
Lydia is going to. She would have made her own copy of the harp symbol and the arcane circlet around it. Produce her notebook and show it to Ellen and ask if she is familiar with the symbol itself.
She nods. The courts all across the realms use these to travel between their coven homes and, well, whatever they place bases at. The Medusa is, well, it's a spread out sect. The simple truth is...
Fane is looking at the symbol right now and reaching into her bag. Please finish.
Yeah, just the symbol allows a Medusa to travel between her home coven and anywhere the agents or their cultists or agents have set up this symbol. It's a travel beacon. The fact that there is one here in Saltsmith does not surprise me. Ithrica likely has them all over the Gilded Coasts.
3.
2.
2.
And Fane will pull out a sheet, a bundle of vellum, and set it down.
I think Airdrie, just sort of picking it up, would gently pry the vellum open with a dart so he doesn't have to touch anything, just so that nobody, grabs it unnecessarily.
Yeah.
No more touchy.
Elaine just kind of looks over it. Doesn't touch it, but looks over it just... Yes, this is clearly her mark. Any of her court could use it to travel between her home in the Atum Mountains and here.
So even the arcane iconography around the outside matches as well.
Perfect.
So it stands to reason that it's the same person that applied them.
Either that or simply the same court, same agency. Could have been a revocated seal, but it could... Doesn't get to be the same exact person, but definitely people operating for the same person. No question.
They learned it from the same person, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Airdrie, the only question he's going to ask is, how far to this person that could help, or maybe be our enemy.
Ithaca is far in the north, towards the very tip of what could be even considered the coasts. There she waits in the mountains, her servants and attendants, her sisters. They wait there. They plot.
What do they have to gain?
I do not know. My time in the court was short. When I discovered the truth of their larger plans, I ordained myself to leave. I was surprisingly allowed to do so, but a pact had to be made. Ilan opens their mouth and sticks out their tongue. You'll see a row of 2 black bands directly across her tongue. Just, I cannot speak on the court's true purpose. The magic binds me from doing so.
I would assume then, DM, me asking, none of us know what that true purpose is that she left because of?
Not
At least
at
Airdrie doesn't.
all.
Can you write it?
Ilan
You
I'd
said
imagine
you
a
cannot
magical
speak it.
curse does. It's a metaphorical curse mark. It doesn't
What?
necessarily just bind her tongue. It's fine.
Oh, damn it.
I think Airdrie does say that. He's just like, it's fine. Don't
It doesn't work like that. Again, Rio. Magic doesn't work like that. I almost.
He's gently saying that, but I love that question. I like the spirit, my
Is,
man. That's how you have to think about curses sometimes, but
He's a bit confused, but he's got the spirit.
I hate to separate the emotional weight of this conversation, but you're all briefly interrupted by a really piercing, quick scream from Morgan. They shoot up, shout in agony, and then fall back over.
Mm.
The look on Illa's face is just.
I-
Sorry, go ahead.
Fane will turn to Ilan and say, is there anything we could do for her comfort, at least until we can make the trip?
Yeah. Ilan just steps forward, not even looking at you. Like, Fane, you notice that the look on Ilan's face is just sorrow and understanding and empathy. She steps forward to the bed, leans over, and her lips embrace Morgan's for just a moment. You can all feel a quick rush of magic gather up. It's very, very similar to that corrupting, almost like sickening magic you felt around Morgan, but it's softer, just barely gentler. It raises up and then settles. Ilum brings herself up from the kiss and just, I can impart them with just bits of my magic. It will not sustain them, but it will make the agony a little easier. It is a soul-shattering pain.
Fane comes close and like puts there's like a she crouches down and she just like wraps a wing around Ilan and presses foreheads together.
They, close their eyes and embrace this, sort of just nuzzling your forehead a bit, honestly, just embracing the comfort of having another being understand them. And I think, is there anything else anyone urgently needs to have done here?
Rio will does Rio like feel like the magic like thing from the kiss and stuff?
Let's say you feel a bit of a shimmer in the air, but probably not much else.
Because as a player, I want to try something, or at least have Rio try something, but I have a feeling it could go real bad.
Well,
Oh no.
She needs magical energy, correct?
they and yes.
What?
They
They.
and
They
yes.
and
God damn it. And he will again like bring some magic from him, and the red lines upon his hands and the glowing of his horns will appear again. I am not the best, nor do I have the best of talent, and he will try to like form it.
Rio, I believe it needs to be a particular type of magic.
I see.
You remember how I was
Neither.
talking about the lock and the key?
Oh, we need to find the key then.
Neither Lydia nor I have wells deep enough to finish the transformation. My mistress Nyx has done it only once before. It is challenging. It requires world-shaking wells of magic.
So we have reached the part where we have to ask ourselves, do we make the journey north? Do we allow this curse to pass? Or do we gamble and take the path that we were shown? Now, bear in mind, we also have our responsibilities as a house. We have war waging all around us. The church, the Mitri. Everything that we decide here has a consequence. And one life might be the start of it.
That feels like exit music.
Yeah, I'm.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Closing.
as a player, I think this is a great place for us
I was
to
literally about to say that. I think
discuss
that's a
not
good
in
closing
character.
line, honestly. So I'm gonna go ahead and slide us right back out of here, if y'all don't mind. And with that, we draw this session to a riveting and unexpected conclusion.
See, I hate you.
I know.
Straight up.
I
Just
don't
love you,
sound
but
straight.
I hate you. Come
Welcome
on,
to a Foxy
man.
campaign, baby boy.
On God,
I know.
like this, for real?
Yep.
Just like that?
On God.
Mhm.
This is
In front of everyone? In front of chat?
Right in front of chat.
In front
You
of
feel
God
it?
and everyone. In
feel
front of
that,
God
Chow?
and
my
chat.
subway?
Chouse,
You really
feel
gonna
that?
do this?
Right there in the pit of your soul? That's gross. That's gross.
If it's-
trauma.
if it's any consolation, this was me and his divine name. So
That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for, okay, friend? I'm glad to know you all feel this. I'm glad that you all know what I'm here for, alright? Now that I've broken at least one of my players today, let's go ahead and get out of here. I'd like to thank you all in the chat for coming to hang out with us for this duration of the stream. I'd like to thank my players for, again, bringing incredible characters to this. Let's go ahead around the table in reverse overlay order and have you tell us who you are, who you played today, where you can be found on the internet, and what you have coming up next. Tate, it's on you first.
Hello, Twitch. My name's Tate Washburn. You can find me on Twitter at kinda_writing. Talk about tabletop and writing, as the name would suggest, and politics and memes and stuff. You can also definitely follow this channel's Twitter, which would be better for you to follow the at Lights Roleplay. More better. I is smart. Anyways,
you killing it.
I've been playing.
Killing it.
Today I've been playing Airdray, who I'm gonna try and make strong and silent Ranger Man, and probably will come off more like a golden retriever trying to act serious. I'm gonna try, man. I'm gonna try, but like, just who I am as a person. Anyways.
Well,
There's a covered up picture of a golden retriever in a suit on the board, but it's like covered up over like many things.
They have a golden retriever on the board.
there's a circle around an airdrop.
He would never suspect a dog of
dog
doing
is
evil.
this?
They're all good boys.
It's a painting of a dog, and Fane put it there.
Just snuck it in there. Like, how long will it take them to notice?
it's just like,
There's
if
a
I put
dog.
a random fucking thing in here one day, how long will it take them to figure this out? Just-
Lydia noticed it immediately.
Yeah, I think it would end up being more of a conspiracy though of like, how did the dog get on the board? When did this happen? Did I forget? Did someone erase my memory?
This dog has to be important. I gotta know.
Playing along. Yeah, I don't know where the dog came from.
What's the dog doing?
What the dog doing? Oh my god, we are all broken souls today.
Okay, all right.
In one way or another.
We're gonna get us the fuck out of here now. Meg, go.
Continuing with our pair of conspirators. I am Meg Mysteria. You can find me as such on Twitch, on Twitter, on Itch, here in the Neon Lights Discord, and on TPK roleplay. I played Lydia Evermorton tonight, our house kid, who knows way more than she probably should. But as far as where you can find me next, in a couple of weeks here on the 18th, we have our next installment of The Hubris of Man, the Alien RPG campaign that I am running for TPK Roleplay. And then after that, is it same week? Yeah, same week. On the 19th, we around for our lovely Against the Light.
Be back in exactly 2 weeks. Swinging right around across the dice game window, good old Chouse. Do the thing.
Hey, I'm Chouse. I'm a broken man right now. Thanks for that, Foxy.
You're welcome, baby.
And fuck. Rio's also a bit of a broken man right now. So oh boy.
That's how it feels to break one of your players, chat. If you're ever wondering why I DM, just look at that face. Just take that face in. That's it. That face right there. That's the one, okay? That's the look. That's why I do this, okay? You alright, boss? You feeling good? You hanging in there?
I'm doing. You know, I'm doing.
I'm glad you're doing. Thanks for doing with us. Appreciate you being around. And I guess, you got anything else? Or
I've been Rio, our now shattered rogue, who did not wish for Morgan to learn the dangers of his more treacherous work that he had been really keeping from her until, well, tonight.
Everything brings consequences,
so,
friends.
Yeah.
And with that, I'm Young Foxy, aka Big Foxy.
What the fuck?
Oh, wait,
I
hold
think
up.
you're
I
forgetting
lied.
someone.
I did it. Yo, I forget one of y'all every time we play this game. I'm the worst person. Vermin.
It's almost as if this game breaks us down at a mental level.
I agree. Now that I'm mentally broken, Vermin, punish me for my sins. Go ahead.
I cast invisibility earlier, so it makes sense. Hello! Once again, I'm Legendary Vermin. You can find me as Legendary Vermin on all the places on the internet that matter, which is, of course, Itch, Twitch, and Twitter. Check out my games on Itch. They are super duper fun.
Shots fired at YouTube, wow.
I mean, I guess I'm on YouTube, but, like, YouTube ain't what it used to be. That's all I'll say on the matter.
I'm just doing a bit. It's fine.
I know. If you want to see more stuff like this that I do, you should go to legendaryvermin.com/live, and I keep a mostly up-to-date record of what streams and when I'm going to do big things on the horizon on the 7th, which is Monday. I'm going to be in the next episode of Madness Calls It Forth, which is a urban fantasy noir game, kind of in the vein of Wolf Among Us. It's super fun. I wrote a very cool monologue for the opening of that show, and I play a very butch lesbian who loves to punch people super hard. So come check that out. You can also catch me the week after on Monday the 14th. I'm going to be playing in a game of Dating.sim, which is a new game that came out as part of the Possible Worlds series of games. I'm going to be doing that over on TPK as well, and I'm going to be playing a skeleton man who is my closest impression of Matt Berry, which is fun for everybody involved.
Sounds like fun.
And then on Wednesday the 16th, I'm going to be showing up for Hubris of Man, of course, as another big lady who loves to do violence.
We like violent big
Big
ladies.
lady do
Sensing a
violence. We like
trend.
that.
Personally, a big fan of big ladies who do
I'm
violence.
sensing a type.
I mean, it's definitely my type. I'm just saying. Any
Listen,
case,
it's mine.
besides outing my
Every group needs a big lady who loves to do violence.
I think every group should have multiple ladies who are big and do violence. Honestly, all big violent lady party win. All right, now that I'm done outing my kinks in D&D, folks, I'm Young Foxy, aka Big Foxy, also known as your favorite fox, Philly's finest. You can find me on Twitter sphere at Big Foxy, SBIG_FOXXI. I dunk on right-wingers, I slay fascists, I have a good time doing it. I've been your game maestro for today. Next place you'll see me is Wednesday, is coming up Wednesday, here on Lights Roleplay for the return of After the End. If you thought breaking someone here was fun, oh, I'm going to shatter somebody on Wednesday. It's going to be so much fun. So be around
It's
for that.
not fun though.
It's very fun. For me, not for you guys.
It's
Fun
not.
for everyone else.
Oh,
It's
I
fun
think
for
it's
everybody
fun.
else.
See, Meg has a
involved.
great time with it.
It's not fun though.
Beyond that,
It hasn't happened to me, so I'll say it's fun.
Beyond that, you'll see me then over on Bleed the Tale on Thursday for Into the Stormlands. We had our first live session last Thursday. It was pretty fun. It's good to do some more of that. Afterwards, you'll see me on TPK Roleplay on Friday for Cold Hands, Warm Hearts. But fun fact for everyone here, for all three of those streams, I will be in Chicago. I won't be here in Philadelphia, so my background will probably look a little bit weird. I'm leaving tomorrow. I'll be traveling by train for all fucking day tomorrow, so that'll be fun. Any case, that's only important to know because the day I come back, which will be Monday, I need you all to be here to welcome me back to Philly the right way because on Monday, next Monday, which if you couldn't tell, it's Valentine's Day, we'll be right here on the Lights Roleplay running a Valentine's Day one-shot based in our own unique Naruto homebrew system and campaign, A Blade's Will. So if you thought that ninjas were cool and ninja pirates were cooler, ninja dating simulators are even cooler. So be ready for that, friends. That's really honestly all that I've got here. Players, y'all got any last memes or dreams to get off before we get out of here?
You're never gonna break
Fuck
me,
you guys
Foxy.
then. Cool. Our Dragon Breast is going up.
Taco Bell.
What's going on? I'm still broken.
I know. It's
Destiny
okay.
2.
What happened?
It's all right, love.
I'm just glad it's not me.
You have feelings, you'd be right. I'm soft. Don't hurt me. Anyways,
Listen, friends, we're gonna throw our rating
I
over
mean,
to Arch Dragon's
yeah.
Breath. He is playing some Final Fantasy X and looking gorgeous doing it. So please go ahead and give him some love while we slide on over there. You all have been amazing. I've been Young Foxy. We've been Neon Lights Roleplay, and this has been Against the Light. Take care of yourselves, each other, and everybody else around you if you can. Otherwise, I'll be mad at you. Take care and goodbye.
tell them Chaw's broke. That's what you should say. See you, bye.
Charles broken chat, guys.